All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM and happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are ready for what should hopefully be an interesting, profitable, and fingers crossed, not choppy trading day. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing how kind of price action behaves. And yeah, we're kind of creeping up to end the week here very, very soon. Markets are closed on Friday for Good Friday. So a little bit of an opportunity there for, I don't know, maybe things to be a little bit quieter, right? Tomorrow, as you kind of get that option expiration, right? All syncing up. And then, that sort of gives us an opportunity for today to effectively be like that last clear runway type day. Now, if I'm looking like short term, effectively how price action has behaved this morning, or kind of where we are from a like relative range perspective, nothing here too interesting as of yet, right? No either continuation of this trending PA and no real like continuation here to the downside, right? So we're stuck effectively in what has been a nothing 6 trading days, right? 5 trading days. Or I should say 4 trading days, right? Today will be the 5th. And so that does make like a little bit of a story where I need to be probably a little bit more like defensive over price action. If I'm thinking about kind of the tuition I paid yesterday to Mr. Market, I think what it was is that I wasn't probably defensive enough in choppy conditions. And yeah, like maybe I could have just walked away after that first trade, like, or there was enough logic there to say, hey, I could just be chill and walk away with the $200 day instead of a minus $1,000 day. So that's something to definitely think about here, right? If we're going to continue to remain in such a tight range, and price action is going to be high volatility but small ranges, that then creates like a lot of tumultuous, right, type price action, or the type of PA that just ultimately is a little bit like lower conviction. If we think about like yesterday, right, we had one NQ candle on the 5-min, it was even shorter than that, but there were multiple like these 100-point ripper moves, right, just one direction, the other direction, on no particular narrative, and it kind of just shaked out everyone before really giving us any kind of consistent type of PA. And so if we're going to continue to remain in that like kind of compressed environment but high volatility backdrop, it's just like a lot of froth, right, that's kind of bouncing around, or like it's building energy effectively for that next then big move. And what we're already seeing here in how this is happening, right, is that when those moves do come out, they are rapid, right? They're so fast. They are super aggressive. And we want to be just a little bit deliberate, maybe even a little bit more patient, right? Waiting for price action to give us that conviction that we're about to be getting that sort of trend breakout or trending PA. Or things along those lines, right? I don't really want to spend my mental capital here today dealing with chop or getting chopped about, or just like, just dealing with suboptimal conditions, right? I don't think I fundamentally did anything terrible there yesterday. I think it was fine by every metric. Just the moves were slow, right? And they were limited. And then when it reversed violently. And so, look, I'd rather be wrong quickly than wrong after an hour. But I don't think that it wasn't an issue with the setups. I think it was an issue with the market conditions. And so just wanting to be a little bit more deliberate here in those conditions, identifying that trending PA, seeing that volume return. And then, I can have some joy. So I know it's kind of like a bit of a scatterbrained start here to the AM, but really the emphasis I'm having here, or like the thought process I kind of came up with when I was reviewing my trades yesterday is effectively like you're just not going to get momentum breakouts or momentum changes in these tight ranges. So the move, right, effectively is to play either like mean reversion, right, bounce off the top, bounce off the low type trades, or wait for breakout conditions to return and effectively just pursue those types of opportunities. So I think when we're more range bound like we have been, the momentum breakouts, the trend day breakouts that we want to get sometimes are maybe a slightly lower probability, and the mean reversion looks when you have extended price action are maybe slightly higher probability. And so it's understanding that we have effectively like a different tool for different conditions, and just making sure that we're putting the right focus on one here. Because yeah, I think trading a bunch of like failed breakouts or ideas along those lines, it's a little bit too easy to get tunnel vision inside kind of really choppy markets. And when price action gives you those like violent 30-second candles, right, where it's like literally 100 points, you know, that kind of gives you hopium, right, that there's like that volatility and that big move, and that breakout is eventually going to work because you see those ranges play out. And I think if we just balance that technique difference a little bit here, I think we're going to be in great shape. Now, that's a very pessimistic kind of overview, right, of how my trading went, or kind of how it's gone here this week. It's not that dramatic, right? Yesterday, I kept the losses relatively small. 3 trades, $1,100. So still very, very much within kind of 1 trade, maybe 2 trades, depending on the type of volatility that we experience here today. And that's a totally reasonable place to be here as a trader. I think what we have to really understand is that we're playing fundamentally a game of probabilities, and we're always going to have streaks, right? We're always going to have periods where the variance kind of runs hot. We're going to have periods where the variance kind of stings a little bit. And really what our job here is to make sure that we don't allow those losses to become personal or catastrophic. So being a deliberate risk manager, being a better loser, right, will allow you and allow me to come back from this losing day yesterday, right, get back to new all-time highs and essentially restore kind of like, we'll call it balance on the force, right? So yeah, I think that there's nothing that we need to really panic about. Red days happen to everyone. It happens to every single trader. I'm still green on like 80% of my days here on the year. So it's never a fun feeling. It's never something that you really want to experience. But by choosing to play this game, ultimately, right, that's the price that we have to pay. That the price of being wrong and losing money can feel very personal. I promise you it's not. The market does not care. And we know that we're going to have losing days. We know that we're going to have losing trades. And it's our job to effectively be proactive enough so that those never compound into catastrophic mistakes. You know, if you think about a 100 trade sample size, and you have a win rate of about, we'll call it 60%, right? The probability of having 8 losing trades in a row inside a 100 trade sample is about 26%. So that's pretty common, right? Or like there's enough probability there where that could be a reality. And obviously, I'm not to say that we're going to have 8 losing trades in a row. That would be a terrible, terrible feeling. But like, that's a realm of possibility, right? Like that, you know, if I had that occur in like a game of chance, you know, maybe there's some value there, right? Or you wouldn't be surprised that maybe that occurs, right? Like if you're playing blackjack and the dealer's got 25% to hit 21, you're not going to be surprised when they hit 21, right? And so the idea here, right, is if I know that that's like a realistic possibility, or that's like in the realm of what is mathematically possible, then I have to be proactive enough, right? So if the worst case scenario happens, if like my P&L gets hit by an asteroid, I can still survive emotionally, right, mentally, and hopefully maintain my technical edge. So none of those things are particularly top of mind here this morning. I feel sharp. I feel refreshed. I'm ready to go, and I'm excited for what should be a very, very important trading day for us here. But ultimately, right, just wanting to be transparent about that process and share with you kind of, sort of my general thoughts here, philosophically and technically, over what I'm going to be doing today and hopefully tomorrow as well. And with that being said, looking forward to trading with you all here today. And let's absolutely get after it. So first things first here, team, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Let's have ourselves a hell of a day. And let's get after it. So what's the count here on ES? Let's start there. And we'll check the data in the meantime. So we got business inventories today. Got some Powell speak here at 1:30, sorry. So, okay, a little bit of some potential here this morning. And yeah, Jack, spot on, inside bar. All right, so we're still looking for that formal consolidation breakout, targeting 53.40. And these numbers change so much. Blows my mind. 53.40. And then going down to like, maybe like, 100 points is a ton. Oh, jeez. No wonder it looked so off. Okay. So that's to the downside, right? And then to the upside, targeting 54.30, and then up towards like 5,500. So 54.30. Yeah, it does feel maybe a little bit like that, Robert. I would agree, right? We're in a very, very tight range here. So we need to see some sort of change in momentum. Otherwise, it's probably going to be tough to play breakout trades here this morning. So yeah, spot on. Especially with Powell talking later today. I think that opens up quite a lot of potential chaos too. All right, sweet. Makes sense generally on ES. Let's just do this too. Cool. NQ, how do we feel? What's the count? Similar, not so similar? How do we feel? Yeah, same story, right? So inside bar looking maybe to the downside here, 18,480. So we'll call that 18.5 as our starting point here to the downside. And then might have to be a little bit cautious here of limits. So 18,000 is going to have to be our kind of limit here today. Prop firms will potentially cap you from trading right at that point. To the upside, 18.9 would be the starting point here. Cool. I don't think it'll get to 20,000 this morning, but if it does, happy days. Still looking right for a consolidation breakout. This is probably also worth mentioning, right? For those of you who are long-term investors, long-term kind of speculators like myself, right? We're building up kind of long-term portfolios. I'm not convinced that lows are in here yet on the indexes. I still think that we have an opportunity to pull back a little bit further and potentially even test kind of that 500 area again. That's going to be my next kind of zone where I'm starting to look for additions to my long-term portfolio. So as we kind of creep up towards sort of like that Thursday low, I think ultimately that would be sort of the narrative. Now I've been effectively dollar cost averaging every like month, right? 3 weeks to a month type thing on this move down. So I'm not going to be super aggressive. I don't need to be super aggressive here inside this range. I'd like to get a kind of deeper pullback here for me to be able to make that addition. And I'm going to go pretty big size if I ultimately do that. What this is going to be, right? It's going to be a very long-term thesis for me, right? I'm willing to hold the indexes for, the next 20 years if I have to. So I don't really like sell or trim these positions. Ultimately, look, just basically build up a big pile here. And so that continually is something that I'm working on. So yeah, if I can get a price around there, I've even seen some speculation of it getting back towards the COVID lows. If we get back to those levels, I'm literally going to sell every single thing I have and put every nickel and dime into the market at that price. Like it would be too generational of a move. So I'd be surprised if that happens, but I would take that opportunity gladly. All right, enough of that. Okay, Apple. A little doji, right? Green candle, decreasing volume, gap down. Finish filling the gap. Tesla inside bar. Oh, yeah, CL, no interest in it today because it's got inventories at 10:30 and then it's rolling tomorrow. So this is just going to be like a FU of challenging PA. But yeah, I should mention that. Apologies. Okay, Tesla inside bar. Sweet. Microsoft. I think that's a lower low. I'll call that a 2 out of 3 without volume. Okay, Amazon 2 out of 3 to the downside without volume. AMD 1 out of 3 here, big gap down. NVIDIA 104. So like, see how our leading names, right, are pushing down towards sort of that Wednesday low? That's effectively what I think is going to potentially happen here on the index level as well. So maybe the indication now with the size of these gap ups, maybe this is like a little bit of a mean reversion day here, gap fill type scenario. But there's clearly like a magnet down at those lows. And so I do think that even if we do rip higher, which I inevitably think is going to happen, it's going to want to test that price before we give anything significant. Just my theory. Okay. Meta 3 for 3, right down towards those lows. Netflix earnings tomorrow. Pretty interesting. Bit of an outlier mover. Cool. And then they'll Google 2 out of 3 without wall. Someone was asking me about this maybe Monday. How often do gaps get filled, or do I trade gap fill scenarios, whatever you want to call it? I love gap fills on like these 2 out of 3 to the downsides without volume. I love these kind of like as a Bollinger Band reversal type setup. For those of you who are trading with DTR when we were trading stocks a lot more, that was a setup that would crush for us in these types of conditions. So generally what this is, right, is like an overreaction sell-off in a period of non-short-term trending price action, right? And short-term trending price action is based on the previous day, not the, say, previous 10. In my world, 10 days is a long time. But yeah, it's like a bit of an overreaction move. That gap will probably want to get filled before it wants to go. Similar to how Apple filled its like big gap up, right? The other day, filled it and now maybe wants to give us like a little bit of an opportunity to test. So if it's going to be a strong bit of trending price action, it's not going to leave that gap empty. And if we can get that PA to go, that would be a fantastic setup for us, and it would be a good variant of the mean reversion look. So we should be able to get potentially a variety, or like a corner store variety of that here on our index futures. And that would be some pretty high conviction PA if we could get it. So yeah, I do feel, I was going to say vindicated, but I feel confident that it's like probably a little bit of a better market for potentially some of those mean reversion looks, because you get overreaction moves overnight into areas of support where there's just still a huge fight. And if it wants to just bounce between these ranges and make its overnight highs and lows, I'm happy to trade that. That's fine. And I don't need to be too aggressive with the opening range. So we'll see, right? Like the thing that I am honestly going to be the most deliberate about is I probably want to see highest volume of the week here on any kind of bit of trending price action, right? And by like, to use like a basketball analogy, like I want the volume to look like Wemby, right? Like it's got to be so much taller and yeah, like it's just got to look like a freak, right? Relative to all of the other kind of volume bars that are in its range. If I can establish that type of momentum shift, then I think it'll be a little bit easier to play some of those opening range breakout concepts, or those looks where we're getting that like momentum trend day. If I don't get those types of opportunities, right, then maybe this sets up a little bit better as like a fake out and go and like a mean reversion type scenario. Now with excuse me, now with those like gapping up or pulling back a little bit off of the morning lows, maybe the mean reversion might also not be in play. And if I get neither scenario here today, or I don't get any price action, it's fine, right? I don't have to be in a rush to place any trades or to make my money back or do anything along those lines. Those are effectively, I call them like false hopes, right? I got to trade my rules. I got to trade my system. And when I trade my system and I trade my rules, P&L always catches up and it always rewards me, but it's a lagging indicator. So I don't want to judge my progress or my, lack of progress, right, on a day-to-day basis. That's just too much of a roller coaster. And so if I can avoid some of those scenarios and I can kind of maintain an element of kind of just discipline and structure, right, and sticking to my guns, then my P&L is going to be just fine, right? The thing that we always want to focus on here on a day-to-day basis as traders is how can I improve the quality of my process? How can I improve the quality of my technique? And how can I become better at executing my ideas? If things continue to struggle and you have like a really bad period of form, then you want to judge your P&L, right, on like a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Spend your weekends reviewing, okay, do I need to fix something? Do I need to change something? Can I backtest a different pattern that I've maybe noticed? Can I identify different types of trending conditions? Where am I making those changes? But we need to effectively get off of that daily P&L roller coaster and understand that, hey, losing small actually sets us up to win big. And we did a very good job of that there yesterday. So again, there's no like overcorrection. There's no panic. There's no fear that my setups aren't going to work. I'm just taking the lessons that I've gotten from the market here this week to be a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more specific, and to establish benchmarks that I need to overcome to have conviction in my A+ setups. So that's really what I think we've done a good job here of defining this morning. And I'm optimistic that it should be an exciting trading day. Any questions here, team? How's everyone feeling? We all ready for a big day? What's the team vibe like here this morning? Like that, Kiki. You've been crushing it. I love that. All right, team. So I'm just gonna go quick 2 minutes here. Make myself actually just grab a bottle of water and take the dog out for a quick little break, and then jump back on here in a second, and we'll set ourselves up for what should hopefully be a great trading day. All right, everybody. Yeah, everyone hear me? We're all good. Beautiful. All right. So, yeah, let's have ourselves a great day here, team. 3 minutes till market open. And yeah, let's get after it. Hopefully, everyone's feeling sharp, ready to go. And yeah, looking forward to what should hopefully be a very strong trading day. Just really the theme here today, right? No BS, right? No forcing dumb stuff. No getting stuck, right, in looks. We'll just be focused, we'll be deliberate, and ultimately, right, that's what's going to make us profitable. Pretty aggressive open. 30 seconds in. Hey, Rusty, how's it going? Where's session breaks? I can never find it. So not biggest volume of the week yet on the opening range. There it is. All right. So again, ES not the biggest here yet either. So going to be a little bit patient here still. And again, no CL this morning, right? So it is probably setting up still a bit more like a mean reversion day. Those setups are active on our longer time frames. And slow trading view this morning. Better. Okay. Yeah, so far so patient. No good looks here yet. Can't really be hyper aggressive with the opening range, right? Because I'm not getting the initial volume that I want on at least the shorter time frame. Kind of the standard, right? We established was largest volume here of the week, or larger volume than any of the previous weekly opens. Now, okay, we do have that, or sorry, previous days opens. So it is bigger on NQ. ES, not so much. So NQ would be in play here, right? For us to get an opening range breakout type trade. That could potentially be a scenario. Yeah, that's an ES 5-minute bullish reversal ding you just heard there. So I would be potentially interested in this. So we're looking at what, 30, so 08, 06. Well, 406 kind of as our target here. And so box it in. So we need a pullback under 53.7425. And again, this would be a one contract play. The stop loss of 364. That was weird. And that would be 73, right? Stop loss, which would again be reasonable. We have a mean reversion look here. We also will have one on the 10-min time frame. So I don't have to be in a tremendous rush. So for now, still looking stop loss. Okay, now it would be on the aggressive. So now stop loss would be 373. And I need a pullback under 81. I don't know who the fuck's calling me right now. Sorry. Like people don't know, I trade for a living. Okay. So I'm gonna be still watching here, right? These setups here. ES, the most likely short term, otherwise waiting, right, to see if I get the opportunity. So watching this pullback here carefully. And again, right, this would be a one contract play. If you're not trading a 150K account, right, or you don't have that amount of drawdown, right, think about this way with micros instead of minis. Okay, here's our first attempt at it. Let's see. All right, guys, so I am in. Average price 379. Average price 379. One contract. Pretty much a perfect entry. Fantastic. All right. Okay, come on, keep going here. It was looking real good for a second. Don't like that it's given back a little bit here. Okay, it's got to keep pushing. Got to keep pushing. That was a worst case scenario survival. So let's see if it can make highs here. Otherwise, got to look to get out. Come on. Don't like that. It constantly feels kind of like a failed move. All right, guys, I've closed that trade. I have closed this trade. So what I'm going to do here, right, is reset this on the 10-min time frame and see if I can get a potentially better opportunity or play the NQ mean reversion. I just didn't like the way that that was bouncing. 280, under 80, 280, under 80. So it didn't feel like my entry was perfect. So I'm going to reset and try again, maybe on something else here. So I'll take the little win, start the day off, fine. And then looking potentially 821 here now. On NQ. Oops. Where did I get this tool from? Okay, right. And feel pretty good about that decision. That was the right decision to close early. So I'm okay with that, right? They got no problems. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, look, not the P&L result maybe that we wanted, but I think that was a good process. Didn't get greedy. Didn't feel right. Trust it instead of getting the hopium. Like it kind of gave us a worst case scenario and then didn't give us a great reaction post worst case. So this would be pretty close to now what would have been stopping us out. So again, better to take a small win than it is to take a loss. I'm okay with that decision. That's fine. Yeah, I am watching, right? I am absolutely watching here and Q. Similar idea, just 10-min time frame. And yeah, I think, Robert, we're kind of getting, again, like a little bit of a consistently slow market. Periods of more extreme stress than extreme movement. Okay, that's a 15-min reversal signal. Cool. So stop loss on this, right, would be low of day. So 570. And again, waiting, right, for a decent pullback. Probably a test of like that 600 area would be kind of what I'm looking for here. But yeah, the deeper pullback I can get, the better. And yeah, we would have for sure been stopped out there of ES. So really good decision there, team. And again, right, this is a one contract play. And let's be just a tad patient here, right? Just a tad patient. So watch how it behaves, right? Effectively to it breaking down through 600. Does it act as a magnet higher or does it repel price action lower? So far, it's been like 10 points range around 600, right? Like 505 to 605. There's a good bounce. Okay, so watching closely here now. Okay, still watching carefully. No, we closed our trade early, Deb. Posted in the setup alerts. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. It's a little bit too fast for my liking here, lower still. Better. Okay, guys, I am in. Average price 606. Not a great fill. It's a really bad fill. Oh, much better entry, Greg. Much better. All right, so let's see if this thing can start running here. Hey, really good start here, team. Really good start. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in the fill price I got. Well, let's see if this thing can keep running. That's 500 bucks. Didn't like that. $9.50. So we still got some time here. Come on, give me a pop here. So yeah, my entry price here kind of screwed me a little bit. Bad entry has made this trade a little bit more challenging than it needs to have been. Okay, took the stop, took the stop. Trying to get some nice potential breakdown setups here. Okay, so 1 for 2 here to start the day. Let's see if we got some more oomph here. We got data dropping 8 minutes, so still a little bit of time. And I would be looking for an NQ breakdown. Right now we do have that increasing outlier volume. And we've got a larger volume standard, right? That's been invalidated here at the open. I would say I have a breakdown set up here. Would prefer the aggressive entry technique. Okay, so stop loss would be 18,558. Right, and be a short, looking short. Okay, so just be patient here. Okay, now stop would be 562, so this would be a 1 contract play. Okay, good reaction. So I'm looking here, team, I'm looking. Just a little bit more. Okay, guys, I am in average price 43, 1 contract short. Okay, so let's see if this thing can push down here now. Come on. It's gotta die. Come on. Yeah, I've been stopped. I don't know why I didn't get the alert. But I've been stopped out of this position. Tough, tough, tough. Yo, I'm going to wait for the data at this point. You got a little shake and fake type move. Very mean. Okay, still in play here. And then just watch the algo reaction, right, as this candle closes. Now, I don't anticipate this to be like the world's biggest news event, but you just never know. It's still mean. Okay, so let's see where this thing finds some support. 541 would be the stop loss for now. Okay. Too fast of a pullback for sure. There'll be a one contract play, right, if this behaves. Not behaving the way that I would like. Better. Much better. Okay, so watching closely here. Blue line or better is what I'm looking for. All right, guys. So I am in 527 short. One contract. I'm getting stopped out like a lunatic here. Minus 340 on that. Only by a point. That's so cruel. All right, we're back looking for reversals. Okay, very interesting. Stop would be 842. Sorry, 542. Okay, watching closely here. You won contract. Maybe do something like this. This is your confirmation. Eyeball separation away. 840, sorry, 564 stop. Let's see if it can hold. Too fast, way too fast. Okay, nope. Is now 60 stop. That's pretty reasonable. 10 points. I could live with that. All right. Too fast. uh, Crazy. Could I not find an entry? Far too fast. Okay, watching. Have to be the aggressive, I think. Okay, still watching here, still watching. Trying to find a tight risk reward entry. Still very close still, which is interesting. Doesn't feel bullish, right? This reaction. I got like a high volume separation here. So again, active setup here. Better would be the aggressive. 67.50 stop. Well, just 568. Hey guys, I am in short 55.75. That's a really good price. All right, see if this thing can break down here. Two contracts short 55.75. Oh, this trade, I won't lie, this one took a huge amount of my focus. Sorry for being a little bit quiet here. So let's see if this thing can go. Otherwise, I'm going to cut this before it becomes a loss. Give myself a chance to reset. Come on, break down, baby, break down. Okay, here we go. Watch, watch, watch. Flush through 40. Come on. Pushing. Come on. Okay, it's got to get through 40, right? It's got to get through 40. Okay, here it goes. See if it can flush and continue moving. There we go. Keep pushing, baby. Keep pushing. Oh man, this is not easy. Hey guys, I've closed this trade early. Oh man, this is a lot of work today. A terrible reaction. So I took a $40 loss on that trade. It's frustrating because I was up a decent amount. We'll have to fight another day. Ooh. Yeah, that trade is really frustrating because I was up $700. Didn't take it. So that's quite dumb. Yeah, I feel like I've been getting washed out a bunch this week, Robert. Kind of been my theme, I think. No, this hasn't gone back down under that 40 range. So, closing it was the right decision. But I'm not taking my wins aggressively enough here. Two for four. This the rejection spot? You effectively got all this areas of wicks. That's kind of what is catching my eye here. See how this candle closes. So sitting on about 800 bucks down on the day here. A little bit frustrated. A lot of work to do. Probably not going to be that. Got stuffed at resistance. What would that need to be? 639? Probably too aggressive. ES data here in 3 minutes. Or sorry, CL data here in 3 minutes. Points on ES here. That could be doable. 150 bucks a contract. Pretty reasonable. Oh, just laughing at myself. A really good bounce there on ES. The only trade I think that's bothering me here is the one where I got my 604 entry, where I got like five points worse than I wanted. That's the one that's bothering me. That's the one. It's like, that's worse than it should have been. Everything else, okay. Yeah, I would say I kind of felt like I chased that trade a little bit. Okay, so I'm still watching ES. Blue line or better on a gentle pullback here. Not going to happen. Yeah, I feel the same way with letting what should have been a green day slip through my fingers. For sure, a little bit of a self-inflicted wound. Still in play, but annoyed. A little bit annoyed. Okay, so back to looking at this. 366 stop. Oh, what a life. So it's a high vol reversal away from the lows, right? Bearish failure, and then we keep just getting like increasing volume separation, right, away from these lows. So it's a failed move, right? And then bullish momentum reclaiming here away from that separation. Let's wait it out for a few minutes. See if we can get that high volume separation here, maybe at this rejection, and just play the range. Yeah, I wouldn't say I necessarily see the outlier volume on ES here on like the super short time frames. I do have an active signal there on the 10. That's like legitimate in every kind of capacity. On NQ, I'm more a little bit paranoid about this like kind of trend line rejection, right? Kind of have those 3 points of contact. So I'd be more looking for a breakdown here on NQ, right? Or a breakout above basically right the opening range here. Again on ES, I have a little bit more flexibility to have that signal there on the 10 min. So I'm trying to find an appropriate risk reward ratio to justify taking this trade, and looking for short-term bouts of high volume to see if I can find an entry. That makes sense? So NQ, probably want to see it hold under 6, right? Didn't do so. It's an okay candle shape. Yeah, that 600 buffer is kind of what I'm keeping my eye on out here for. So let's see if this thing can break down. With a minute to go, this should go increasing volume. Not sure if I would call it particularly bullish here. Kind of just looking like it's stuck. This is the bullish move I'd be interested in. So 369 stop loss there on ES. Before contracts. And let's see if we can find support off of that blue line. And I really don't want to get faked out here. So I'm going to be very deliberate here, right, with how I'm defining price action, waiting for the correct reaction. Well, our confirmation isn't this decreasing volume, right, Eric? Our confirmation here is still this 10-min signal. We're just trying to find an appropriate risk reward entry. I didn't like that bounciness. It felt like deja vu. One of those weeks. Yeah, I could do this. Okay, 372 stop. Let's see if it can hold. Hmm. Ruthless. Yeah, finally getting some nice volume profiles. Let's see if this thing can close strong. If NQ can close strong here on that breakout, great shape. On ES, it gave me just a hint of an opportunity for an entry, then exploded that 4 points. That's probably a little bit more frustrating, I would say, more than anything. Like, you got to be perfect on your entry timing or you don't stand a chance. That's fine. Annoying, but fine. Tough living today. Tough living. Okay, see if this candle can close strong-ish. Above 60 would be ideal. Nope. Okay, back in business here. Back in business on ES. 372 stop. Too fast. Okay, watching closely here. Okay, guys, I'm in 74.50, 4 contracts. Long. Can't even type it out today. That's brutal. now down about 1,300. The fuck. Oh, his fake outs are tough. Tough to watch. That's always how it works. That's always how it works. Ay, ay, ay. Man, losing sucks. Worst feeling. Doesn't look super optimistic if you're a bull. Look, remember, team, no matter what, our responsibility as traders is to control, right? Or to remain in control, right? So the market is making us feel as if we've lost that. Then even if you do place a trade, you're not going to maximize your ability to be able to profit off of it, right? Because you're in a highly emotional state and you're likely to make an irrational trading decision. So it's okay, right, to walk away. It's okay to do those things. I still feel okay. I still feel fine within my kind of structures and rules here. But yeah, not thrilled with the trading performance here last 2 days. Kind of a bit annoying. A little bit of deja vu to maybe the price action we had pre-big flush. 372, 368. You're looking at 4 points of contract. Actually, this would still be the pullback techniques. We need to be higher up. Kind of looks like a bull flag, maybe. Something like that. VIX is what, 30 handle still? Weird. Kind of I mean this is probably going to sound ridiculous, but I'm actually kind of sitting here with a smile on my face. So I'm just thinking, yesterday was tax day. Can't imagine being in the office doing something like that. Even though, right, like the day's not maybe going the way that I wanted here yet. Still feel a tremendous amount of gratitude that I get to spend my time doing this. I'd rather be frustrated and pulling out my hair here than, oh my gosh, auditing someone. I'd lose my mind. Yeah, you could just say just stuck. That seems to be the sentiment here, Robert. Yeah, this is like I don't know why this is creeping up in my head here, but it's like the meme like why do you keep like someone like talking to God, like why do you keep sending me your toughest challenges, and then just God responding, you keep choosing to trade choppy markets. For whatever reason, I got that stuck in my head here. I mean, still within striking distance. Again, a bit annoyed, but alive and okay. Trying to find a good opportunity. Back to maybe watching ES and NQ for reversions back down towards lows. 100 points of range, plenty of space. Okay, so we're going to watch NQ here. Yeah, so we're going to want to see it flush under 600, right? And then look for it to find support off of that area for a downside move. And now this would be the pullback. Let's see this reaction here around 620. Still watching here, still watching, trying to be very focused. Starting to behave like it should be an entry here. So let's see if we can get a little pullback. I didn't get a fill. Are you kidding me? All right, try this again. Man, I had 32. I'm going to get a fill. Try this again. Pulling back. We got 10 seconds till this candle closes. So I'm going to wait for this candle to close now. Might give me a chance to get the little fake out. That was a signal, mean reversion signal there on CL, sorry. No interest. Ooh. Got your fake out now? Ooh, that's interesting too. Oh, man. If I ever get sent to a gulag, they really want to torture me. They just got to put today's price action on loop. Let's go, Ajay. Nice work. This is where I'd be interested here. Something like this. Move though immediately. Well, look, a plan in itself, right, isn't necessarily mine. A trading plan, right, is knowing what invalidates your position, knowing where to close your trade, right, if you're correct or if you're wrong, and it's knowing what your position sizing is going to be. So if you're answering those questions, I'm never going to complain about that, right, because you took a different trade than me. I don't have an ego attached to sort of my thesis. Right? There's a million ways to win, and as you've seen, there's a million ways to lose. I have no idea the difference between the two, Roberto, truth be told. I have no clue if there's any actual tangible difference. I use the web version. I've just always used the web version. So, yeah, that's really all it is. As for using RAM, I've got like 128 gigs in my machine, so I'm not really ever concerned by that. All right, back to watching NQ here to the downside. Six eight. Ooh, fat, higher stop loss now. 623 stop. Man, it's doing this all day here today. Yeah, this price action's all bark, no bite. It's a good rejection. I don't know how I'm supposed to ignore that. All right, I'm looking, team. I'm looking for an entry. Too fast. Way too fast. Today's price action is sponsored by some like Turkish hair clinic. Oh my gosh. So now stop would have to be 632. Okay, watching closely here again. I mean, like 10 points. 10 little points. Oof, what a rejection. Yeah, an increasing volume here. So this will give me an opportunity to play this potentially on a tighter risk reward. Okay, it has to be the aggressive here. 608 stop, right? 608 stop. Okay, and looking for a pullback into about 600-ish. be patient, right? We've seen a ton of fake outs here before it makes a move. Okay, guys, I am in short. Let's see if this thing can break down here. Average price 601. Average price 601. Okay, and I took the $100 loss there. $120 loss. I'm out. Don't know why this is not alerting my why the noises are inconsistent today. I'm getting fucking ass kicked. How's it faking out like this? Just every which direction, every which way. Yeah, I mean, I took a really small stop there too. That was worth the speculative bite. Oh, sometimes you can't help but laugh. What a bullshit way to be down $1,400. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Feels just like the absolute dirtiest attempts to make a red to green move. Oh. I got maybe one left in me here, guys. I got maybe one left in me here. I think price action is showing me this week that my edge is maybe not as uh, effective in this chop, right? We did really well once when we had that big volatility, but this small range, high volatility, I'm not navigating as smoothly. Okay, so watching ES. Yeah, I don't know why the ding isn't going. But okay, I am in 378, 378. Okay, keep pushing here, keep pushing. Okay, decent shape here. Oh, I jinxed it for sure. Okay, last chance here. I was going to get out at entry. All right. Well, that's enough bullshit for the day. Any questions, team? Fuck me. Any questions? Uh, no, not yet, Roberto, unfortunately. I'll be moving, and then hopefully by the time my move is done, we'll be back in business. Man, I'm getting tortured here because keep feeling like I've got some hope. But I'm taking bloody hit after bloody hit here. Um, Oh. All right, guys, I'm taking a shot here at this NQ. I can't ignore this. Stop is 613.25. I got one contract here. And price is 625. No, this is the low vol pullback thesis. Okay, see if I can survive that fake out. Okay, see if this thing can keep pushing here. Let's see if this thing can keep pushing. Jesus, finally. God damn, what a fucking frustrating day. That's 1,300, 1,400. Oh man, I might just pull something out of my ass. Fucking Fugazi. 15, 1530, 16. Oh my god. I don't deserve this. Fuck me. Alright, starting to run nicely. Okay, that's pushing 2K. I honestly feel a little bit disgusted with myself. This is like a spite trade. Oh, fuck me. Okay, guys, I'm closing this position. That's 20, 28, 29, 3,100. I am all out at 705. Holy Jesus Christ. 3K win. You gotta be fucking kidding me. 2 contracts. And yeah, stop loss was effectively needed to have held under. That's what I did. So I just ignored. Like I said, it was a spite trade. I can't believe I got away with that. Honestly, team, that was the I don't know how to describe this. That was the most bullshit trade I think I've ever taken in my entire life. I got rewarded for every possible broken rule. I'm sorry. I went mental, not hard stop. And I went bigger sizing than I probably should have done. And I got very lucky there. We must have literally front run some tariff news. I honestly can't believe I got away with that. Honestly, team, I do owe you guys an apology here. That was yeah, for full disclosure, that was a trade on tilt. 100% was. I honestly can't believe I got away with it. I'm very sorry, team. Oh, look, I'm... Yeah, okay, I will never hold you guys to a standard that I don't hold myself to. And yeah, this was for sure a decision where I felt more confident in my thesis than my entry. And I'm very sorry about that, team. And I didn't do a very good job there communicating. Like I was silent. So I would say that it's very lucky. I would say I was very lucky here. Now, there are some principles that were fine, right? Like, you know, the risk reward and doing all those things made it easy. But yeah, I did a bunch of things there that I would normally get mad at you for. And I didn't do a very good explanation over why I chose to behave that way. And yeah, it's easy to admit that because I got, honestly, like just like a bullshit big win. But yeah, that was a trade out of spite of just being like, fuck, I hate getting faked out. And yes, that worked out, but I feel very, yeah, I feel like a hypocrite. So I'm very sorry, team. I should have been suffering with you all together. I'm very sorry. Okay. Yeah, sorry, team. So yeah, look, I'm going to be super transparent with you guys, right? Always, and try to walk you through. But yeah, today this price action, it pushed me to my mental capital limits, and I was willing to breach them. I am not particularly proud of that. I actually feel kind of like a piece of shit. I do, Roberto. I just have him on a different screen here. I just have him on the different screen. So yeah, I am really sorry, guys. Today was not the example that I would like to share with us on a daily basis. And although the P&L here today is exceptional, it is honestly like the most bullshit P&L I've ever gotten. I made money. Right, breaking a rule, and that's something that's not particularly sustainable. I think what that is, right, is it's a reflection of I like the I'm trying to phrase this the right way, and I'm sounding like I've got a stutter here. I think a little bit here this week I've been trading with my ego a little bit more than I should be. Right. I've had a really, really good run of form. I've put in a lot of work to my trading. I've made a lot of improvements to sort of my, I'd say even like mental capital, right? My mental capacity. And I had a good idea, right, of what I thought the market was going to do. And then I couldn't accept that my timing wasn't correct here today, right? Now, I had a valid setup for sure, and I had a thesis that was correct, but a thesis where I have to get faked out and put on extra risk and be choosing to ignore my loss point is not a thesis that's particularly repeatable or like something that I want to like brag about. Like, this is not teach tape, right? I think this is a trade where I effectively got lucky. I got bailed out. And it, to a certain extent, it's like the power of the setup trigger bailed me out here, but it was a process failure. And so I don't think that that's super sustainable. If I did this trade 100 times, more times than not, I think I'm losing. And I'm sorry for deviating here into a gambler. It's not what my intention is, and it's certainly not. It's not a standard that I would be happy holding you all to, and it's not a standard that I would be happy to hold myself. And so, yeah, I want to say sorry to everyone for that. That was a very ugly way to have made money here today. And I'm sorry for, not following my process here, but also not communicating that process very well. And so I owe you guys all a policy. I held myself to a standard here that was not acceptable, not to a high enough standard. And I simply have no excuses. I just want to say I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for not being a very good communicator here this morning. Yeah. Any questions here, guys? Any questions? A little bit spent mentally. And I'm sorry that, I honestly feel really bad. I cost you guys some money here today, and I take full accountability for that. Yeah, it was a great win, right? It was a great win. P&L wise, incredible result, right? So the P&L here today is not the issue, right? I made money going like 2 for 6 on the day, and I made a lot of money here today. Made back all my drawdown from yesterday and then some. So I'm not mad about the P&L. The P&L is awesome, right? It is epic. I am mad, or I'm disappointed in myself that I did something that I don't believe was a positive EV decision, right? If I do that on every single one of my trades and trick myself into thinking that that actually is the way that I'm going to be profitable, I'm selling myself a story that is just complete and total bullshit, right? I make money because I follow my rules and I follow my process. Fuck, like even yesterday, I was bragging about how my edge isn't that my strategy is the best. My edge is that I'm a better loser, right, than most other traders. Today, I wasn't that. Today I wasn't that. Today I was Michael, the trader of 13 years ago. Right? Today I behaved like a rookie. And so, yes, the P&L is awesome, right? I'm never going to complain about a green day, but I need to honestly be humble and be honest with you guys, right? And saying that this was not sustainable here today. I got lucky. I didn't execute with skill. And I got bailed out because of the work I did in backtesting my setups and the risk reward ratio that I use. So I got bailed out by that and maybe like a tariff tweet. So yes, okay, to a certain extent, there was a little bit of an edge there. But I took the most basic variant of that. It's like, you guys remember when we were initially starting to stress test the mean reversion technique, and the stop loss was close at end of day, I effectively behaved that way here today, right? I gave too much stock in the power of my setup trigger instead of just playing the numbers game and doing something repeatable. So yes, good day from a P&L perspective, bad day from a process perspective. So I've got a lot of work to do here this afternoon to basically reconcile the difference. You know, maybe to a certain extent, right? It's an indication to me that I may be a little bit burnt out, maybe a little bit more exhausted than I should be. And I think that that's a realistic conclusion to have generated, right? After what has been a crazy volatile month, right? And then honestly, some of the hardest price action from my perspective in a very long time. So, yeah, like I said, guys, I owe you all an apology here today. I didn't really behave like the leader that I want to be. And worst of all, I didn't communicate that particularly well, and that cost you guys all money. And so I do really apologize, and I promise I'll do better. Yeah, that was even just like the violence of that move. What the fuck? That was crazy. All right, teams. I'm going to go final call for questions here. I'm going to go cuddle the dog, do some exercise, and just remind myself that, hey, I'm actually not an idiot. My self-talk here has been particularly negative, and so I don't need to feel that way. Life is great, and I'm extremely grateful that, hey, I get to share these mistakes with you all. And yeah, I promise you guys will be better tomorrow. And I promise you I'm very much looking forward to the long weekend. So final call for questions here. Honestly, can't fucking believe it. All right, team. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. It might be a little bit longer here. I'm going to go cell phone free for probably an hour or two. But yeah, have yourselves a great rest of the afternoon. And we'll be back at it again here tomorrow to finish off the week with an absolute bang. So have yourselves a great day, team. We'll talk soon.